Oh, here we are. Another Wednesday Walkie Talkie. God, it comes around quick. Well, the weather's about consistent with the rest of the country. Confused, messed up, and absolutely on its arse. Don't think it knows what it wants to do. Anyhow, to kick off this video, I just want to say a friend of mine online, Dean, he has a channel, Vinny Corleone 62. He has a show on there called Escape to Gaming. He's having a bit of a rough time health-wise at the moment, so just wanted to wish him all the best if he does see this video. Get well soon, bud. Get back home and kick back, relax, and play some of those games you've got. He's got a huge collection of games. So yeah, get well soon, bud. You take care of yourself. So, just gonna kick off this week. You probably noticed that, well, those of you that do watch on my channel, you probably have noticed that I've not uploaded any gameplay video this week. There's a reason for that. I want to try and improve my channel, and I want to try and grow my channel. It's sort of very stagnant. It just basically exists. My sub count doesn't really move at all. I get the occasional one new subscriber every 3 months, 4 months, if I'm lucky. I don't know how many I've lost, but it's stagnant. The views on my videos are as well. And in the past I've said before, I do this for the fun, and that's still true. But I would like to grow the channel. I'd like to do a better job with what I'm doing. I've always assumed that my channel is just like treading water and eventually it'll just sink. Well, my missus actually used Copilot. I don't use AI. I don't have the wherewithal to use it. But she had it analyse my channel, and apparently there's potential there. I really don't know how, but it came back with a number of suggestions, which I'm going to try. Let's give it a whirl. Let's at least enact the experiment, shall we say. So I've hit a pause for now, because when I do my videos, I just use OBS to record the video gameplay footage as I'm playing, and then I'll upload it. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of editing as and when it's required, but I have to use Clipchamp, and as I said in the previous video, it's not very good. I've not been able to finish uploading my Doom playthrough because I need to do some serious editing. It's the last episode of it is, the video footage is in 3 parts, and Clipchamp just cannot cope with the file size. It just keeps buffering and crashing. So that's why that's never gone up. Let's have a little ganders round here. That's why it's never gone up. Because I've tried multiple times and Clipchamp just keeps shitting the bed. It's not a patch on Movie Maker. God alone knows why Microsoft did away with that. I can't even see in there now. Barely. Nothing there anyway. Yeah. It's not very good. If you're doing small things, I suppose as a free piece of software, it's fine. But when you need it to do anything, it can't do it. It can't do it. I'm not really, in the past, to say I've used Movie Maker. When I was using my Apple Mac, I used iMovie. That was alright, it did the job. A lot of those early videos on my channel was done with iMovie. As I say, it did the job, but Clipchamp just can't handle anything. It really can't. It's also another one of these pieces of software that want you to pay a subscription in order to be able to upload in 4K. So I'm sorry guys, that's just not paying for something that's pretty standard these days. So I need to learn new video editing software. I believe there's a free one Mrs. found that she uses called DaVinci. So I'm going to look at that, get to grips with it, and try to improve the quality of my videos. Now, the other thing I need to do is thumbnails, which is going to be probably the biggest challenge for me, because I'm a total cabbage when it comes to creating stuff like that. So Lord alone knows how I'm going to do that. But apparently you have to brand things. You have to have a brand. Well, I certainly don't. My thumbnails are just what's randomly generated by YouTube. So quite often they're just hilariously crap. So if I'm going to try and grow this thing, I need to put a bit of effort in. That's going to take more time, which will mean that volume-wise, that's going to have to come down. I sort of commit to 5 videos a week, 4 playthrough videos, and this one. Well, doing this is easy. Clipchamp actually works okay for doing this, because it's not a particularly big file size, and it's not a particularly long video. Usually works out about half an hour. So it doesn't really have a problem with this, so I can get this done relatively quick. But gameplay video, that's a bigger file size, and there are bigger chunks, so that's going to take some more time. And if I'm going to do it properly, if I'm going to try to do what Copilot suggests, because it'll be an interesting experiment just to see how effective AI actually is, I'm going to have to do what it says. Otherwise the experiment is null and void. So it's going to take more time, and it's going to have to, because I don't have any more time to give than what I do. The only way to do it is by fewer videos. So it might end up just being a couple of gameplay videos and the Wednesday Walkie Talkie video. Certainly this week it's just going to be this Wednesday Walkie Talkie video while I figure the rest of the stuff out. Now, as I get better at it, hopefully I get better at it, I might be able to get quicker at it, one would hope. But I don't know. There is still a process that'll be involved, and how fast that process operates at will deem how much content I can put out. I have other things I do in my life outside of YouTube. So that's the upshot. And why there's been no gameplay videos. It's not that I'm abandoning it. It's just that I'm trying to improve it and trying to make it better. And that's just going to take time. You know, I can't just sit and all day figuring stuff out. I have to figure it out as and when I have the time to figure it out, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. So that's why I was just going to put up a message post a message up, but it's easier to explain it in the video. So that's where it's at. Things are changing all the time in the world, and like I say, I'd like to grow the channel, and if I can get it to a point where I can maybe make a little bit of money out of it, that would be great. If not, fine. This is just me seeing how far I can take this thing. But what I'm not going to do is suddenly become a completely different channel. Now, you know, I've always had opinions on things. That won't change. So, you know, my view on things, it's not like I'm suddenly going to start shilling where I don't, you know, for an industry where I don't think it's appropriate. I'll call out good stuff and I'll call out bad stuff. That's what I've always done. So that's not going to change. You know, actually, it's quite humid now. That's really annoying because I've got quite a thick top on because it was raining and cold. Jesus. Trying to get the right attire at the moment for going out in this country is like, it's almost impossible. I'll probably have better success winning the lottery. But anyway, that's the update for the channel. That's where we're at. That's why there's been no videos this week, gameplay videos this week. When that will resume, it's going to be down to how quick I can learn this stuff, how much I get into my head when I can. But I kind of needed a bit of a break as well. You can see just how confusing the cloud is. You've got blue sky over there, grey sky over here. The bloody thing doesn't know what it's doing. Just say it's the perfect analogy for the rest of this frigging country right now. But yeah. So, on the gaming front, well, not really a lot has happened really, has it? I mean, we had all those announcements, which I've already covered in the previous videos. One of the things I saw this week is, I wondered how quick it would be for this resurrected Commodore, or this clone of Commodore, because Commodore's dead. The company's dead. It died in the early 90s. It's gone. That company's gone. They may have the rights, but it isn't the same. It's a doppelganger. It's a facsimile. Is all it is. It's not the genuine Commodore. That's been gone for over 30 years now. But this one that they have going on at the moment, I always had my suspicions. I thought this C64 Ultimate, I couldn't really see the point in it myself. However, it is a thing. It would appear There were a number of people receiving them with the cases cracked, probably down to cheap plastic, poor manufacturing, possibly, overtensioning of the screws on the case. In any event, like, the quality control sort of bit suspect. So with that, the powers that be decided that they were going to release what they call a dumb phone, which is essentially an old flip style phone, not a smartphone. Okay, fine. But then the prices I've seen have sort of ranged between $300 to $400 or pounds. I'm not sure which one it is, but anyway, doesn't really matter. For a piece of tech that is old. Again, you're paying premium price for a dumb phone. It's not a smartphone, it's a flip phone. And you're paying hundreds of dollars for this when you literally can pick one up. I mean, in the UK values, probably for about 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. And I did think to myself, how long will it be before this reborn Commodore shits itself? Well, not very long as it's transpired. I mean, let's look at what put Commodore on its arse 30 odd years ago. Well, actually it was a little bit more than that. I mean, that's when they finally succumbed to years of mismanagement and stupid decisions. Let's look at that. And anybody with a brain would say, hey, let's not repeat the mistakes of the past. The reason Commodore went tits up is well documented. However, for the people who were running Commodore International, whatever the hell it's called these days, they don't seem to have that in their brain at all. So this has got to be one of the most ridiculous wastes of time. You can go and buy a half-decent smartphone for less than what they're charging for this dumb phone. A phone that by its own description is going to be less capable than a smartphone. I cannot even begin to comprehend what the hell possesses people. What this reeks of to me, they've bought a huge batch of these cheap shit phones and they're just sticking a Commodore sticker on them, essentially. So I don't know, but that's how it comes across. And then they're going to charge you like 10 times the price, and probably 5 times the price as what it would have cost you to just go and buy the same phone. They'll stick a little bit of proprietary shit on there, and then you're going to pay for the privilege of having a phone that isn't as capable as what's in the market right now for less than that. I mean, I've had a perfectly functional smartphone a few years ago that I paid less than £200 for. It did its job. It wasn't spectacular, but it did its job. And this is not even going to have that capability, but could cost twice as much. What is the point in this? What is the point? I mean, it'll come with a sticky label that you can probably peel off. If you're that desperate, just buy one of these cheap phones, get an image, get a Commodore image, print it onto a sticker and stick it on the bloody phone yourself. I mean, you have the novelty of, it might have some C64 proprietary software on there. Wonderful. I had that on one of my phones from about 10, 12 years ago. It was a novelty. And then I realised just how pointless and shit it was trying to do this on a bloody tiny screen, and fired it off. Got rid. Got rid of it all. Let's get down to here. See what's going on out there. But yeah. It's like, I don't know. What is the point? What was even more amazing was there are actually some real titans of intellect defending this. It's like, okay. I assume that they're people who are old enough to remember how stupid business decisions and idiotic hardware releases buried the original Commodore so deep that it could probably be turned into oil or coal. Literally some absolutely galactically stupid decisions like the C64 games console that you couldn't use because it needed a keyboard and didn't have one. You know? Absolute Einstein levels of decision making. Let's keep a computer that was way past its sell-by date in the marketplace, cannibalizing potential sales of our newer computer, which by the time we woke up, the newer computer was about 7 years old, but they had nothing to come after it, apart from the 32-bit version of it. But it was still called an Amiga, so like people wouldn't have known, casual people wouldn't have known that the Amiga 1200, considering like the first Amiga was an Amiga 1000, they wouldn't have had any idea at all that it was new or that it was more capable. Because instead of calling it something new, they just give it a number, which was like, well, we have an Amiga 600, so that's a 16-bit. Well, let's call the 32-bit the 32-bit Amiga, an Amiga 1200. All right, okay. Remember that time where the Wii U didn't sell because people didn't actually know it was a more powerful new games console than the original Wii? Not very smart. I mean, I remember at the time most people thought that it was just a bloody controller. But yeah, wonderful. The absolute state. So, yeah, and just an immediately an unfathomable decision that has the tiniest of market appeal. Like even somebody like me, who is a huge fan of the C64 out of nostalgic reasons more than anything else. Like I say, I have the C64 Mini. That scratches that itch. You know, I can plug a USB keyboard into that if I'm desperate for needing a live action keyboard, but you know, live action keyboard. I mean a real keyboard, should I say. But this just like beggars belief. It's like, it's a collector's item. Somebody will buy it and stick it on the shelf behind them in a video as a curiosity. That's it, at best. Who the bloody hell wants a dumb phone these days when everything out there points towards you needing smartphone technology in order to get by? And that's going to become increasingly the case. There's literally no sense to it. It's like the premium price they charge for a Commodore 64, which, you know, is hardware that is essentially, 42 years old at its heart. But it's not a real C64. You know, it's a clone that has more things available to it. But it's not a C64. It's not a real Commodore 64. So why not just get the C64 Mini, or even the one that's called the C64, which is a lot cheaper and is basically just the same. They'll go, well, it's got a proper motherboard and everything. Well, no, it really doesn't. It's not a proprietary motherboard as such. I forget the terminology for it now, but it's one of them. The Commodore has this. It's not. You can't take a motherboard out of a sort of 1985 era C64 and stick it in that case and it work as such. And you couldn't get that to work in a 1985 era C64 case. So it's different. I know, fine. But they still charge a huge amount of money for it, in my opinion. Where you could buy a laptop, or even actually a low-end PC, whack an emulator on there, and you've got not just something that will be able to play all of the C64 games out there that you can get, but also will have the functionality of a PC. It's literally, what is the point behind it other than a novelty? Don't get it. If you sell these things at an affordable price, or a reasonable price, should I say, because affordability is subjective, but at a reasonable price, that's one thing. But like I say, literally, like, my jaw hit the floor when I saw that, and then I saw how much they want to charge for it. Tell me that they're not exploiting the nostalgia market. What do they call it? Grifting? I don't know. Sounds like it to me. I mean, I don't see the point in it. I do not see the point in it. If it was a Commodore branded smartphone that was relatively cheap, you know, like the low end, what are they like? I think I had a Samsung A12 that was under 200 quid. And it did all right, did the job for a while for me. I mean, it packed in. After about 3 years, the speaker went on it. Not the speaker, the microphone went on it. But it was cheap, relatively speaking. It was cheap. And that's the point I'm making. But it was still a smartphone. I could get on the internet with it, all right. I could download things, okay. I could watch videos on there for a while and browse social media before it becomes restricted in the UK. That's an entirely different subject matter. But some geese over there. But the point being that it did its job. It did it well. It was nothing spectacular. It obviously didn't have the performance or capabilities of an iPhone. But at that time, my phone that I had, which was an iPhone, it was an old iPhone, wasn't functioning anymore. It couldn't do anything. And I, at that time, needed a quick and cheap solution. And that fit the bill, and it lasted me a good 3 years. And then I kept it as a backup phone, and then the speaker went on, microphone. I don't know why I keep saying speaker. The microphone went on it, so people couldn't hear me when I was calling. But then I bought another Samsung phone, and then I got then I got a new iPhone. Point is that they had functionality that even that cheapo one's got functionality, or will have functionality, far in excess of what this dumb phone has. Anyway. And by the way, when I say dumb phone, because that's what they called it, that's not what I called it. That's how they're marketing it as, you know. It's like the whole C64 thing, the future we were promised. What? An 8-bit computer. That wasn't the future we were promised. It literally, within like 3 years after the C64 was launched, Commodore launched a 16-bit computer that absolutely blew the living shit out of the C64. Why was that not the future that was promised? What was the future that was promised? I don't understand that slogan. Anyway, that'll do for this one, I think. How are we done? Yeah, we've done about half an hour, I think. That'll do. I'm going to get home before this weather turns again, and hopefully I'll see you next week. And hopefully sooner rather than later, I'll learn how to use this new video editing software, and also how to construct a simple sentence. So I'll catch you all later.